Hello everybody, I'm making another video and this is more of a sensitive topic. I would like to talk about being bullied as a child and how it shaped me as an adult. I know everyone's experience is different, but for me it's definitely different because back in the day, I grew up in the 90s, so back in the day bullying wise was definitely different because it's more like a face-to-face and more verbal where, when other people want to make you feel bad about yourself. But nowadays, in this generation, we're using social media platforms and not doing it face to face, but behind computer and cell phones and stuff. So it's much of a different dynamic. But at the same time, it's important to talk about how bullying can shape a person and also like really hurt somebody's, you know, personality and kind of change somebody. So for me, it was different as in when I grew up, like, yeah, I was like into sports and stuff, but I wasn't into like normal things like, like how other little boys would be. Like for me, it's important for me to like kind of express myself through writing or, like poetry, singing. I'm more into like the arts type of person, you know what I mean? But it doesn't make me less different, or it doesn't make me like less of a man or a boy just because, I find other things more interesting than certain sports like football or basketball. I mean, growing up, me and my cousins would play outside in the backyard in like the ghetto, and like we will play football all the time. I mean, I wasn't good, but definitely enjoyed playing it. You know what I mean? But for me, it's like being different, like, cause I focus more on the art stuff. Like for me, I started, learning how to. I knew how to sing and stuff like that, and I learned how to write and kind of express myself through writing and singing. Um, Rather than watching boy sports and manly sports and stuff like that. But for me, when I was watching sports, I didn't have like what the normal interest was back in the day, like football or basketball. I was more into like, let's say, like tennis, volleyball, and stuff like that. Like if I could ever go back in time, like if I was to go back to high school, I would definitely play volleyball or tennis. But anyways, back to the subject. Growing up was tough, as in I grew up with five other siblings. We didn't have a lot of money. My mom and dad had to split money basically for all the kids to have certain amount of pants and shirts and shoes, and I never really had all that much growing up. Like I only had like each year, like every academic year, like I only had let's I was even not lucky enough to have one pair of new shoes and maybe like two pair of new sweaters and a t-shirt and pants. And that's it. And like every time I would go to school, I felt like I didn't have enough. But for me, it didn't even matter because for me, it's as long as I have clothes, as long as I'm going to school, as long as I'm passing class academically, I didn't really care about that stuff. Like for me, I didn't even pay attention with the haves and have-nots. But what other people kind of bringing that to light, that's when you start noticing about yourself, like, oh my God, I don't even have enough. Like, what should I do? Like, should I keep bugging my parents to buy me more stuff and stuff like that? So growing up, you have people like saying, oh, look at your shoes or look at your clothes, and how that kind of shaped me as an adult is that now, ever since, you grow up to work for yourself and stuff like that, you kind of want to make up for the loss you never had or for what you never had when you were a child. Like for me, I made up for it as in now I kind of look forward to like buying nice stuff, like, nice leather jackets, nice shoes, buy Timberlands, buy Nikes, buy Adidas. I never had those brands. I had Family Dollar brand. Um, Yeah, and now I'm just buying all the brand name stuff, not like top notch brand name, but stuff that makes you feel good and look good. But basically, for me, I still don't really care about that stuff. I mean, materialistic things don't really mean nothing to me, because when you die, you're not gonna take it with you. But for me, it is important to kind of tell my part of the story, how it kind of shaped me as a person. And like, it's funny because it's not even just outsiders that would bully you, but also the toughest part is that even your own family members, who you would assume that they would love you, for what you have and for the interest you take in. Um, yeah, I grew up with people making names all the time. This kid is weird, this kid is like not like a normal like little boy and stuff like that. And for me, I mean, back in the day, I didn't really care. I was those type of kids that kind of like ignored it and brushed it off. But with some people, it is harder to kind of ignore it, because some bullies like keep going and going and going until like you break, until like you fight back, or unless you, God forbid, with a lot of people, it's kind of sad that people are bullied into suicide. That's just how bad it is. People, don't, some people don't, are vulnerable and feel like they don't have the capability to step up for themselves. And a lot of times people are like bystanders. They're not really going to be there for you because they don't want that to happen to them. But now, like for me being an adult now, if that I see that ever happening, I would kind of step up and be like, why are you treating them that way? It's like, why? Just why? But yeah, like back in the day growing up was kind of tough in that aspect, where, they just treated you differently. You just know when people treat you differently, just by your clothes, just by what you like to do and stuff like that. So it was kind of tough. And for me, I was, I hung out with, my guy cousins and also, my girl cousins. But at the same time, I felt like I was more related to my girl cousins because they weren't as like judgmental. Like if you like art, if you like singing, you like music, they didn't really care. They just like, oh, keep doing what you do, you'll get better. But with male cousins, like for me anyways, I can't speak for everyone else. But with male cousins, they kind of judge you because like how different you are. And so, but now I pretty much that people kind of grow out of that stage, because now people are getting married and stuff like that. But so that mindset is kind of slowly fading away. But I'm just saying, like back in the day, that's how people would treat you in your own family. No. So how it shaped me as a person too is the fact that when I grew up, going to high school, I kind of ignored a lot of people. Like I didn't even want to be. I kind of was like antisocial in a way where, I wasn't with the cool crowd. I wasn't popular. I didn't really care about that stuff. I kind of just, during lunchtime, I kind of sat wherever I want to sit. I asked, oh, can I sit here? And, just with normal people or uncool people, however you want to say it. But I didn't really care. But it really did shape me as a person, as in personality wise, I was really closed off. When someone tried to get to know me, I always think like, oh, is there like an ulterior motive where, they try to make you look bad, or they try to make themselves feel better about themselves, kind of like hanging out with me. Um, so I was really antisocial. I didn't really want to make friends. Even until now, I always believe in that it's better to have less real friends than more fake friends, which is true. I believe in that saying. But someone's calling. But anyway, it is important to try to understand the other person's shoes. Always, always, always try to understand the other person's shoes. And like for me, I'm like over that stage. Like even now, when I talk to people, I'm very observant. So when I talk to people, I look at their demeanor and can I trust them and stuff before I even, kind of go further in a friendship or a relationship. Like for me, even if I'm like looking for a wife or whatever, I will look deep into it before I even get into a relationship. But that can be for another video because I see myself as really picky. But my advice for the bullied or the bulliers is like, if you feel bad about yourself, try to talk to somebody. And I know that a lot of bulliers, or I don't know how to say it, those type of people, they bully others because they don't get that love or they don't get that attention. So that's the reason why they do it in the first place. With those type of people, maybe you guys need someone to talk to about it. Like if you're feeling lonely, talk to somebody about it. Try not to close yourself off. And the people being bullied, I understand that some people take it harder than others, where it's kind of sad where people, you find out that they kill themselves. But with those type of people, it's just like, try to find someone to understand you also, and find ways to kind of make yourself feel good about yourself. You can't always believe what other people say about you, or don't believe what other people say about you, a matter of fact, because that's their definition of you, not your definition of you. So it's important to know yourself as a person, to love yourself for who you are. So yeah, love yourself for your differences. Basically, everyone's special in their own way, and just kind of find like things that make you happy, make you feel good about yourself, make you feel as part of the society, because you're you, and you are special in your own way. And that's my advice to the people who are bullied. And if you ever need help, go look for higher authority help. Like say if you're being bullied at school, tell the higher authority to help you. Or if you're being bullied through social media, try to figure out where it's coming from. Or like if you know that person, well, I mean, most people would bully behind a fake name or fake account, but yeah, kind of notify that social media app. Or if you know that person, bring that attention to the school. So that's my personal advice and my personal experience on how bullying shaped me as an adult. And I hope you took something out of it. And I hope to, help other people and relate to other people. Thanks. Have a good one.